All right, shalom, shalom, boys. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna give you another video today talking about, um, infrastructure and homestead. One of the biggest things that you can do, and I think it's a beautiful thing, is to purchase some farmland, to purchase some land where you can grow your own food, source your own water, um, provide your own energy, um, do all of those things that a homesteader desires to do. Because after all, everybody that's moving out uh, to the country in this mass exodus that we're seeing, people want those things. The reason why they're leaving, is to have a better quality of life, to be able to grow their own food, build their own infrastructure, so forth and so on. However, the problem that we're having today is that people want to move, right? They want to move, but they don't want to put in work. And it's a sad deal to see people getting ripped off and literally wasting a whole lot of time, energy, and effort when it comes to, uh, purchasing land and moving. Uh, it's sad, and I'm gonna get into that. And one of the biggest costs that you're going to incur, outside of plumbing and electrical and sewage, septic systems, this stuff in itself costs tens of thousands of dollars. But uh, when you're dealing with the structures in which you live in, it's very critical. Can it fit the size of your family, especially if your family is growing? What are you willing to trade off on? Now, when we move to the country, we go in steps, and I think I'll start from the highest to lowest. The best deal is to get some land and build a brick home. I mean, some concrete blocks, man. That is the best deal that you can possibly look for, and you can do it, provided that again you have the resources, you have the skill set. Um, no resources, no skill set, can't do it. And it's the same with all of these, but so you can apply skills and resources to all of them. It's just the amount of resources that you need. But let's take a look at, you can build a structure like that. That is the most, in terms of course, is going to be the most durable, the most long lasting. And from even from a security perspective, I mean, it's just a win deal. Uh, if you can afford it. If you can't afford it, the next step is something like, what a lot of homesteaders are doing. They're finding because typically out in the country, you can find a beat up old raggedy home, um, or a double wide or a single wide or something like that. And you can go ahead and purchase that thing, um, and you can fix it up. You can fix it up. I mean, all it is just a frame, a very large frame. And typically, these homes like the double wide that I have, we got it and it was here on the land and we're fixing it up. And I've replaced all of the plumbing. I've done the electrical. I've redone damn near all of the rooms. I'm still working on. I've gutted the kitchen. I'm working on the kitchen. Got all new appliances. This stuff take time, but I had the resources and the time and the skill set to do it. That's the key right there. So you can go that route. And in addition to that, a lot of people, they've also purchased single wides, moved them on the land, and it's fixed them up. And that's where a lot of people live as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way in which, country folk live. Um, so you have that option. Uh, and then you have the option, which is the craze that we have today, is the tiny home uh, uh, option. And you see a lot of people, they're getting, um, on the larger end, the 16 by 40s or 44s or something like that. Those are the goods, and I have one on the land. But the idea is that, you have these tiny homes that people are purchasing and they're building them up. And I'm telling you, man, uh, 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 I would say, what number would I give? A 14 and 12 by 32s are going for finished. I'm talking about finished. All of the plumbing installed, the bathroom, kitchen installed, all that stuff. $40,000 now. Uh, yeah, I've seen anywhere between $30,000 to $40,000. Not even mentioning a 16 by 40 or something like that. Those are going for like 50,000, 45, 50,000, and it's a good deal, provided that you have the resources and the funds. The problem that I have with purchasing these 16 by 40s, and like I said, I mean, if you have a good eye for it, then you can catch it. But you have uh, shady builders and you have good builders, just like you have shady carpenters and you have good carpenters. The best way to go and check a cabin, number one, first and foremost, I'll get into the economics of it. But you take a speed square and you put it in the corner. And if that speed square is off and you put it in the other corner, you can tell that everything is going to be off. Your sheetrock is going to be off, your flooring is going to be off, or whatever. You're going to have to trim everything because everything is not plumb and square. And that's a nightmare deal with, something that is not plumb and square from a carpenter's perspective. It's stressful dealing with those kind of situations. So, number one, you don't know what you're purchasing when you purchase something that you have not built yourself. Um, then you have the deal where the economics of it. Before you were able to get I'll just do the largest one. A 16 by 40, you could finance that thing for $455, right? The smaller ones for 200, you know what I'm saying, $158. I saw those numbers out here, right? Uh, now, now you be damn near paying $500, $600 to finance. Now this is interest, right? Interest bearing. Finance something over 5 years. Do you know? Not only the payment has doubled and tripled, so you're paying $600 to live in this thing, right? And typically, when people move out to the country, they don't have the same money that they had in the city, even if they were working a customer service job, let's say. I'm talking about something that's like in the city that you get in the city, but that's still low paying, $30,000 or something like that, or 40,000. I don't know what these people make, but there ain't a lot of money, $30,000, $40,000, especially in today's money. But you move out to the country, right? And then you got this exorbitant payment. But then these cabins are coming. They're just a shell. All they are is a shell. They're just a shell. You got to insulate it. You got to put the floor in it. You got to put the electrical in it. You got to put the plumbing in it. You got to sheetrock it. If you're going to sheetrock it, you got to mud it and tape it, sand it and paint it. You got to frame it out into the bedroom. See, it's just one large space, you see? And you have to do all that work in addition to paying this monthly payment, especially if you have a larger family. It could be expensive. Partitioning all of the areas for the children and stuff. If you have a large family, if you have a regular sized family, really doesn't matter. All this work got to get done. Then it has to be electrical, all this stuff, right? So you're paying all of this. You got to know you're in the country now, but you got to know you don't even know if the structures are sound. You got to pay on this stuff, and then anything can happen. You see, if those structures, just like out in the country, because you got to understand, we're all self-insured out here. There is no insurance plan that's going to come in here and provide insurance. So if a structure burned down, guess what? That's on you. So if things are not done right, that's on you. You see? So the idea is that you're going out and people are going out and buying these tiny homes, right? And they never become tiny homes. The repo market, and this is where I got some good deals, where I got two of the structures on repo. Repo. Because somebody thought that they was going to get it, deck it out, and then something came up, something happened or whatever, and they had to sell it. You see? So my gain, their loss was my gain. So if you're gonna buy one of these things, buy a repoed one because typically they've gotten some work done in it, and then they fell off. They thought that they could finish it, but they couldn't finish it. So those are good deals. I wouldn't purchase one of these things and finance it, especially for a number of years. You mean to tell me you're gonna turn around and pay $30,000-$40,000 for this little thing after you finish with the finance payments and interest over 5 years? You done paid damn near double, triple the cost for the structure. It's just not a good deal. You see, it's not a good deal. It's best off to go ahead and build yourself one. You see, if you can't get it on a repo and snatch it up with cash, but a lot of people don't have the cash, so they have to finance it. You see, so it's not a good look to go ahead and finance these things. You know what I'm saying? If you can get something and then the prices on these things, I wouldn't buy one unless it's a depressed price, or if it was years old or something like that, and I can get it off of somebody else's property because I know how to fix it up and make it look good, nice, and brand new. You see, but the idea is I would build one. I wouldn't buy one because they're so expensive now with the price of everything going up. They're too expensive. So the idea is that these are good deals in certain situations, but the traditional, you're paying a payment plus interest every month for 3, 4, 5 years. That's not going to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the risk of default is so high, especially in these times where things are just much, much more expensive, and a job, what's going on at Walmart and these jobs. I mean, you can get a job online and they pay you commission or something like that, but these Walmart jobs are not even secure these days because of all of the electronics that they're putting in. You see? So the idea is that you have to be cognizant of these things. If you don't have no source of residual income like that or whatever, it could be a problem. It can be a serious problem, and it is becoming a serious problem. I've seen people lose their cabins. I've seen people lose their homesteads because they financed. They didn't have the money, and they thought that, especially in the faith, Yah was with them, and they didn't sit down and consider the cost. You see, they went in with this religious spirit that was on them, thinking that just because they doing something or they moved, that everything was just going to work out fine. It just doesn't work that way. We have to get more realistic about how we plan things and what we're doing, because you see these people and they're doing this stuff. I'm saying these people, they're going out and they're buying all these cabins, and 3, 4, 5 years later, nothing is done in the cabin. Nothing is done. And I'll leave it with this. Remember in the 1930s or 40s or whatever, you had these shacks that, sharecroppers and stuff, and you had a whole family living in this beat up shack, poorly insulated shack with a small wood stove in the corner. We're getting to the day and age where people are living that way right now. That's just the best it's going to get. It's sad. It really is sad. This is why we say real skills, be debt free, learn how to produce for yourself. And when you move right. Know what you're doing, because you only get one shot at this thing. A lot of people, they move themselves into a permanent state of depressed poverty. I'm talking about what we used to see back in the day, where you had a whole family stacked up in a one big large shack, and that's how they lived. No electricity, no running water, no sewage. That's what we're going back to. Hey, for most, it's going to be their only choice.